So I hope so. What we discussed yesterday, you're clear in that, right? So we discussed about different milling processes, right? So milling machines as well as the milling cutters we have seen. So these are the few operations we have seen yesterday: the slab milling, face milling, end milling, straddle milling, and farm milling. So I hope everybody understand yesterday whatever we discussed. So we can move forward. So yesterday we seen about milling process as well as the milling cutters. So today maybe we're going to see the different milling machines. So what is milling process actually? What is milling? Yesterday we seen, right? So about different milling cutters, milling processes, different milling mechanisms. So in basically broadly we classified the milling into two processes: slab milling and face milling, peripheral milling and face milling, right? In peripheral milling, again slab milling and different kinds of milling process we have seen. So again, based on the mechanisms, we divided milling peripheral milling into two again, that is up milling and down milling. I hope all students is clear in that whatever we discussed in yesterday before last class. So I hope today maybe we can move forward. If you not understand anything, you can ask me. So milling machine. So milling machines. So what is the milling? So milling is nothing but removing the material by a rotating cutter. So that a cutter is called as a milling cutter. So this milling cutter used to have the multiple cutting edges. That last class we have seen. That's why milling cutter we used to call it as a multi-point cutting tool. So like shaper, slaughter, or lathe, whatever the cutting tools we are used. So those cutting tools are single point cutting tool. But normally in milling, so whatever the cutting tool we are using, so this is a multi-point cutting tool. So just give me. So milling machine. So milling machine. So whatever the milling is happening, so in the machine that machine is called as a milling machine, right? So milling machine supplies an accurate rotating spindle, right? So for every machine we used to have a a spindle is required, or nothing but a driving mechanism is required. So the driving mechanism may be rotating the cutting tool, or reciprocating the cutting tool, or rotating or reciprocating the workpiece. So anyone has to move. In some applications, both has to move. For normally for machining, we need to have a relative motion. So relative motion between the cutter and the workpiece. So I think there is some disturbances happening. So there is some kind of relative motion is required. So this relative motion may be a circular motion or maybe linear motion. So without relative motion, so removing of material or nothing but applying of force on the workpiece by cutting tool is not possible. So that's why normally in any cutting tool, if you see, even it's a manual machine or maybe it's power operated machine, for everywhere you need to have a relative motion. So even in your workshop, so maybe you're seen when you're doing the filing. So when filing, what you're doing, we need to remove the material manually, right? So nothing but in your fitting. So in fitting, so what you used to do, you used to have a file. So you have to file keep on the workpiece, and you need to move the file with your manual force. You need to move. So what you're doing there, so you're creating some kind of relative motion or nothing but you applying a force on the workpiece. So this force is applying on the workpiece has happened because of this. This has happened because of the relative motion between the workpiece and tool. So here also doing same thing in milling machine. So it's applied an accurate rotating spindle for the cutter. So cutter is mounted on the spindle, and through some arbor or some OR, but finally it is rotating. So rotating the cutter and table to fix its position. So here what we used to assume that workpiece is stationary. So table to fix the position of the work part. So whatever the things are there, it is fixed at particular position and particular instance. Maybe it is fixed and cutting tool is rotating. There are two types of machines. So in this, so based upon the axis and nothing but direction of the spindle, so we can categorize the machine into horizontal as well as the vertical machine. So this variation are nothing but classification of milling machine based upon the axis of the rotation. So horizontal milling machine, so spindle is horizontal direction. So normally these horizontal milling machine designed for peripheral milling operation. So whatever the milling operation we have seen in the last class, so in that peripheral milling operation, normally we are using horizontal milling machine. Whereas the second category of milling machine is a vertical milling machine. So in vertical milling machine, so whatever the spindle is there, so whatever the rotating cutter, so milling cutter, so that is rotate about its vertical axis. So axis is vertical. So normally vertical milling machine normally designed for face milling operation or nothing but end milling, face milling or end milling. Maybe last class we have seen the face milling operation. So this whatever you have seen in this B. So in this this is the face milling operation. So face milling normally you see the spindle. So whatever is there is rotating about it. The spindle is rotating about this particular axis. So it's a vertical axis, the vertical milling machine. And this is a typical peripheral milling or nothing but slab. One of the type of peripheral milling, slab milling. So in this, so cutter is rotating in this direction, means it's rotating about its a horizontal axis. That's why this kind of process is happening on horizontal milling machine, and this face milling or maybe end milling also same thing. So end milling also same thing. So this whatever things are there, your cutting edges are there at the end of the cutting tool. So these things are happening in the vertical milling machine. So similarly, if you take straddle milling machine, also one type of peripheral milling machine. Similarly, farm milling also one type of peripheral milling machine. So these things is happening. So this A, D, and E is happening on the horizontal milling machine, whereas the B and C kind of operations is performing on vertical milling machine. So based upon the axis of the rotation, we classify. So this is a typical horizontal milling machine. Maybe you can see. So this is whatever we have seen in last class also. So this, if you say, so this is the arbor. So on which, so actually this is the cutter. So this is the work table, right? So this is the work table. So on this table, we are keeping the workpiece here. And this workpiece is coming in contact with the rotating. This is a cutter. So this is rotating cutting. So this table can be vertically raised up as well as a down. And this also we can move in this direction, right? In horizontal. Similarly, it can move in this direction also. So all three directions it can be possible to move, X, Y, Z. So wherever is required, you need to keep the workpiece and you can raise it. And there is a contact is happen between the cutter and workpiece. So when this is rotating, because workpiece is stationary and your cutter is moving. So when its cutter is moving, it is applying a force on the workpiece and removing the material in the form of a chip. So this cutter, so actually this cutter is mounted in a horizontal bar. So this horizontal bar is called as a arbor. So this arbor is mounted on a spindle. So this spindle is here. So inside this, and inside this is a column. So vertical column or nothing but column. So inside this column, so all your driving mechanism is there. So this driving mechanism drives this spindle. So when a spindle rotates, so this arbor is rotating. So this arbor is completely covered in a overarm. So this is considering as an arm, overarm. So overarm. So this is actually fixed, right? So last class also I explained to you. This is a table, and in below the table there is a saddle is there. So saddle is mechanism is there to rotate this XYZ movement. Whatever the rotation is there, it's given by the saddle. So saddle is there, and also this portion, whatever the portion saddle is lying, so this portion is calling it as a knee. That's why this machine also called as a knee type milling machine. So if you see that, I think this is maybe we can see, we have seen the last week also. This is a slab milling process. So this we have seen. So this is overarm. So overarm. So if you take the basic parts, work table, saddle. So this is knee, and this is the workpiece. So this is the column, and this is the arbor, right? So and this is your work table. So work table. So this is work table, and this is the base. So this is a two-dimensional picture. So this we have seen in the last class also. So if asking any questions in milling, please you practice this image. So this image you can practice and you can show all the parts. If asking for the 5 marks or 10 marks, so definitely if you're explaining about milling process along with this image, I think it will be better. You can explain and also you'll get a better marks. So then coming to the vertical milling machine. So vertical milling machine also same thing. You see parts are same knee, base, column, table, everything. So here it is calling as a ram or nothing but overarm or ram. So this is there. So here also maybe you having a milling. So previously you have a overarm. So like here whatever the overarm is there. So this overarm is replaced with a milling head. So whatever the portion. So here if you see, so your this cutter whatever is there, this is about rotating about its vertical axis. So that's why it's called as a milling machine. So normally this is using for end milling or maybe face milling. So mount your cutter. So maybe you can mount in this and keep the workpiece on this. So when you're bringing down or maybe when you're raising this, so when it's coming in contact, so this is removing the material. So here, So because your cutting edges are at the face of the cutting tool or nothing but end of the cutting tool, that's why this used to called as a face milling or maybe end milling. So this is it. So normally face milling and end milling normally used to perform on the vertical milling machine. So in this, if you take the different types, that is based upon the axis of the milling, we can classify it into horizontal as well as the vertical. But if you say the general purpose, normally for whatever the milling machines are there, so they basically classified into the different categories, and that the basic milling machine, whichever we are using, used to called as the column and knee type milling machine. So whatever the previously you've seen, so whether it's a horizontal milling machine or vertical milling machine, it used to have a knee, right? So knee portion which is holding the completely saddle as well as the work table. So this is knee and this is the column. So that's why this kind of milling machine used to call as the column and knee type milling machine. So this is the most general purpose milling machine. So it's a general purpose. So in this used to have column, spindle, cutter as well as a table. So knee, base are the common parts of the any vertical or horizontal milling machine. So column and knee type milling machine may be horizontal. So depending upon the axis of the rotation of the cutter, may be vertical if the axis is the vertical direction. So these are the common parts. So column, knee, spindle, cutter, table, base, and etc. are the common parts of any milling machine. So in horizontal, so in this, if it is a horizontal milling machine, you used to have an arbor support the cutter and an overarm supporting the arbor. So whatever you have seen, so overarm is there. So inside the overarm, you having an arbor. So this arbor is mounted on the spindle. So because of spindle rotation, your arbor is rotating. So arbor and cutter is there in the horizontal. Whereas in vertical milling cutter, you used to have a milling cutter can be mounted directly on the spindle. So along with your this milling head. So the spindle is directly mounted on the milling head. So on this spindle directly you are mounting your cutting tool. So separate arbor is not required on vertical milling machine. The milling machine having only the 3 mutual perpendicular table motions. So in this column and knee type, which is using for the general purpose. So in this, there is only 3 types of movements are possible for the table. Only 3 mutual perpendicular motion, that is X direction, Y direction, and Z direction. So that's why we used to call it as a plain column and knee type milling machine. Column and knee type milling machine, otherwise plain column and knee type milling machine. So this table only is rotating in 3 directions, whether in X direction, it's moving forward or backward. Y direction, it's moving upward and downwards. Z direction, so maybe in other perpendicular direction it can move. So all the 3 directions it can be moved. Vertical type is especially well suited for face and milling operations. So whatever I just now I told you. So vertical milling machine is used for normally for face milling. So these are all whatever the milling machine till now we have seen. It is general purpose milling machine. So that's why we used to call it as the column and knee type milling machine. So this is a typical, already you've seen. So this is a typical vertical column and knee type milling machine. This is a three-dimensional view. So here it is there. So in this maybe you can see the various parts are there. So even in this spindle head used to have the motor, electric motor is there, which is drive the spindle. So tilt head. So even some applications in some machines. So not on plain column and knee type milling machine, but advanced milling machines, maybe you can tilt this. So about this particular axis, so this whatever the your head, spindle head is there, so it can rotate about particular angles. That maybe you can see in the next slides. So the next type of the milling machine, in addition to column and knee type milling machine, two more special column and knee machines are called universal or turret type. So in plain column and knee type machine, we used to have only X, Y, and Z direction of linear motion of table only can be possible, right? But in other type of milling machine, in addition to these 3 motions, so for example, if you take universal type, the table can be rotate in a horizontal plane. So table, whatever the table you see, so this table can be rotate about, so this can be tilt. So this can be tilted like this, as well as this can be tilted like this. So students who is joining now, please mute yourself. So mute. I think it's looking like students join the class only to give the attendance, not for the listening the lecture. So there is microphones are not active. I don't know what is their listening. So everybody who's coming to the classes, please make your earphones to be audible to you. So it has to be active. Yeah, so come to column and knee type milling machine. So in that plain type knee type milling machine, you have only XYZ motion. But in universal type machine, in addition to XYZ motion, so you can tilt, you can rotate your this table. So this table can be rotated about the horizontal axis. So in this direction as well as in this direction, it can be rotated. So maybe your table can be inclined like this, or also your table can be inclined like this, as well as you can rotate this about this axis. So about an vertical axis, it can be rotate. So these are all means. In this, you can not only make a flat surfaces, so even you can make a inclined or maybe some kind of angle surfaces also can be machined. So whereas in previous plane type milling machines, you cannot make any inclined planes. You can make only horizontal or maybe vertical. So only these surfaces only can machine, but here on this universal milling machine, you can make any kind of inclined surfaces, any kind of curved surfaces also can be possible to machine on this. So then coming to the next type, so that is a turret type milling machine. So any questions from any student? So any questions from any student? Student, please mute your mics. So active your mics, but it has to be mute. Mr. Vizarat, you mute your mic. So yeah, coming to the next type of milling machine, this is called as a turret type. So turret is already, we have seen turret previously in our lathe. So this is not similar to the same turret, but what is there here? So here, in addition to that, whatever the inclinations as well as the rotation you have seen. So in addition to that, so because normally this turret type milling machine normally using for vertical milling machine. So in this, so dual head is there. So whatever the head is there, dual head, whatever you're seeing in here. So this can be rotate about the horizontal axis. So it has a dual head that can be rotate about a horizontal axis, so that this can permit milling to be done in horizontal as well as the vertical or at any angular direction. So you see in this, so your whatever the milling head, whatever your spindle head is there, so spindle head can be rotate about it. So this can be at this particular position, or maybe at this particular, for example, this point is considering the axis which is perpendicular to your screen. So about particular this axis, you can rotate this. So in this direction as well as in this direction, you can rotate. So here, so initially maybe you are at 0 degrees. When you are rotated about 40, for example, this rotated about 45 degrees, maybe you can machine the surfaces even at 45 degrees. And similarly, if it is the end milling machines, so you can make using end milling machine, you can make a holes also, you can make a slots also, slots or grooves. So using this, you can make a slots or grooves at this particular angle. So even your 45 degrees grooves you can make, and 45 degrees planes you can easily cut using this type of milling machines. So in addition to this, so in addition to column and knee type milling, these are the three classification of column and knee type milling machine. So in addition to column and knee type milling machine, there is some other type of milling machines also there. So based upon the size of the workpiece. So normally if workpiece is small to medium, maybe whatever the milling machine just we discussed, on that you can keep the machine and you can keep the workpiece on the table and you can machine. If the workpiece is a little bigger, then it's difficult for to machine on this. Then we used to go for other kind of milling machine. So one type of milling machine is so bed type milling machine. So this bed type milling machine is designed for mass production. So in this, maybe you have, this is a typical bed type milling machine. So in that, so a very long your column is there. So to this column, maybe you have a milling cutter is attached. So this column, whatever is there, it can be rotate about its axis. So it can rotate wherever you want to machining. When you're loading, so this has to be keep separately, and you can keep the workpiece. And once loading is done, you can keep your this whatever the spindle head any position vertically, and you can keep it and you can machine. So in there is a very big bed is using. So even bed can be in this size also. So this kind of milling machine is called as a bed type milling machine. So in this, so this having a normally this kind of milling machines are in big, very big in size. Normally using for mass production. So mass production means it is a huge quantity. If you want to manufacture something in the huge quantity, so normally we used to call that kind of production is called as a mass production. So for more quantity, when we're you're using this kind of things. So in this maybe, so whatever you've seen in previously that in that slide, so there, so loading and machining can be simultaneously can be performed, so that your machining time can be reduced, especially your loading unloading time can be reduced, and your time for the production can increase. So the same time, so whatever the in one day, what is the number of components you are producing in general type of milling machine, compare with that, you can make more number of components can be manufactured at the same time. That's why your productivity is increases, and you can produce in the big number of components, more number of components you can manufacture. That's why normally using for the mass production. So similarly, this material, because normally this is in big in normally heavy in size, so that's why it's having a high rigidity. So it having a very good rigidity. So good rigidity is there in this. So good rigidity, greater rigidity for this machine because of heavy structure, heavy beds are there. So that's why it's having a very good rigidity, high strength. So it achieved the heavier feed rates and depth of cuts and higher material removal rate, because it's a very strong machines and high rigidity. So that's why we can give it more feed rate. So feed rate is nothing but at which the workpiece is moving, passing through the cutting tool. Maybe you can give it a high feed rate, as well as you can get the more depth of cut, so that this, because you are a very heavy structure, so even if you're giving little longer, if you're giving little more feed or maybe depth of cut, so whatever the extra forces acting on the workpiece or acting on the tool can be withstand because of the rigidity of the machine. So that's why normally we can go for a little bit higher in feed rate as well as a high depth of cut. And because of high feed and high depth of cut, so obviously our material removal rate is increases in this kind of milling machine. So work table is directly fixed on the bed of the machine. So already you've seen in the picture, machine tool. So directly fix the table are nothing but bed, or both are similar here. Maybe directly you can mount the table on the bed. The cutter mounted in a spindle head, so that can be adjusted vertically along the machine column. So whatever you're seeing, so it's directly adjusted. So whatever the cutter is there on the keeping on the machine spindle, so this can adjust in the vertically any positions wherever the position is required vertically along the machine column. So after machine setup, so little skill is required to operate them. So therefore, the semi-skilled operator can use this type of machining. The so after once a setup is done, so for setting up the machine and fixing the tools, little bit experience or little bit skill is required. So once everything is set up, so then any operator can be machine on this. So therefore, semi-skill initially for setting, loading, unloading, we used to have the skilled manpower. But once its setup is done, so maybe in semi-skilled operator also can do this kind of machining. In this again, so in this type of machine, we used to class again, though depending upon number of spindle. So this type of machines are classified into 3 different categories, that is simplex, duplex, and triplex. So simplex means it has to have only one spindle. So this is a typical machine. So let machine this milling machine. So in that, whatever the things you're seeing. So this is a saddle. So saddle is moving forward and backwards. So whatever the motion is there, that is giving to the table. So as well as the raising up and down is giving by this. And this is the bed. So directly table is directly mounted on the bed here, or maybe a table or bed. You can see it both are same in this. So bed is very long. So you see in this bed is long. So maybe even for the longer work pieces also can be possible to machine. So as such, coming to the number of axes, so this is the bed type milling machine. Maybe you having a very small bed or maybe big bed. So maybe you having a bed type milling machine. So this is a typical bed, and on this maybe you are mounting the table. If it is a heavier work pieces, maybe this you can remove and directly you can mount your workpiece on this structure also. So duplex, so simplex I told you, if it is a single axis, only one spindle is there. So if one spindle only there in the machine, then we can call it as a simplex machine. If it is a two spindles, means two spindles means two different work pieces can be two different tools can be mounted on the machine, and two different operations as well as the two different work pieces can be machined at the same time. So in duplex, have the two spindle permitted simultaneous milling of two surfaces at a single pass. Two surfaces, maybe two surfaces of the same workpiece at different positions, or maybe two surfaces of the two different workpieces also can be possible to machine. So then coming to triplex. So triplex has the three spindle, so permitted simultaneously simultaneous milling of three surfaces at a single pass, because you having a three spindles are there. So directly in each spindle carrying the each different tools. So different tools can be performed at different location, or maybe in the same workpiece or different workpieces. So different operations or same operations can be performed on this. So next type of milling machine is the plane type milling machine. So planar type milling machine. So planar, so nothing but maybe in last chapter maybe you've seen shaper, slaughter, planar. So in that planar machine maybe you've seen. So in that planar machine, so similar kind of planar machine, if you're having a milling, so milling cutter is mounted on the spindle heads. So then that kind of milling machines is called as the plane type milling machine. So this is utilize the several milling heads. So multiple milling heads can be mounted, not only three. Even if you want to have the more milling heads are required, more milling cutters are required, then maybe this kind of planar type of milling machines can be useful. So in this, whatever the milling heads, whatever the spindle heads you have seen in the planar type, maybe planar type I will show. So this is a typical planar type milling machine. So in this, maybe you can see, you can remember, recollect. So whatever the planar machine. So in the planar machine, we having a two vertical columns as well as the overarm. So overarm is there, and then the cross slide is there. So here also the same thing is there. Same thing is there. Inside this, there is a bed. So is there. So on the bed, you're keeping the workpiece, and the bed is reciprocating in planar machine. So here also same thing. So whatever in addition to, so your tools also is rotating about its axis. So along with the rotation of the tool, so your workpiece also is reciprocating on the table, so that your productivity is further increases. So your what happened, you here not only single tool head, so maybe you can multiple tool heads you can mount, you can one tool head here. Even if it is required, you can keep it one more tool head here. Already one more tool head is there. So here one two tool heads are there. So in addition to these things, how many tool heads are required depending upon the size, depending upon the complexity, maybe you can keep multiple tool heads also. So each tool heads has to have one spindle. So each spindle is consisting of one cutting tool. So like this, you can increase in the further productivity. So whatever the previous bed type milling machine you have seen, in that one axis, two axis, three axis is there. But in planar type, even more than three axes. So three axis is nothing but three spindles also you can keep. So utilize for several milling heads. So this can remove the large amount of metal, so while permitting the table and workpiece to move quite slowly. So normally, so because the workpiece are very heavy, so this whatever the motion is there, it is not like very fast motion like in planar. So movement of these beds are comparatively slower. But so this because in previously in shaping in planar in planar machine, so you used to have a single point cutting tool and there is no motion in the cutting. But in this planar type milling machine, so even this whatever the cutting heads are there, so whatever the spindle heads are there, each spindle heads carrying a motor, so that it can give a primary motion to the cutter. So cutters are revolving, are nothing but rotating about their axis. So because of rotation of the cutting tool, the basic primary cutting is coming because of rotative motion of the milling cutter. So often, so only single pass is required. So most of the cases, once your workpiece starts from here, and when it ends, because already multiple spindles are there, multiple cutting tools are there, with one pass of movement of the workpiece from under the spindles, your process is complete. So most of the cases. But if it is the complex workpiece, or maybe material removal rate is required more, then maybe you can use the multiple passes also. But normally operations is performed in the single operation. So these kind of milling machines normally used for heavy work pieces. So normally planar machines are using for heavy work pieces. Similarly, for planar type milling machines also normally using for heavy work pieces, not for light work pieces. So one more important milling machine is tracer milling, or nothing but profile milling machine. So we have seen in previous last class. So there is also process called profile milling. So normally profile milling is performing on this kind of milling machine, trace milling. It's also called as a duplicator. So duplicator is calling why? Because so similar kind of work pieces, whatever is existing, similar kind of work pieces we can manufacture in this. So geometry that can be created on a template. So designed to be produced on an irregular part geometry. So irregular parts and different complicated shapes also you can manufacture, you can machine on this. So in two-dimensional, if it is there, so if it is copying only two-dimensional the workpiece, then it is called as a tracer. If it is a three-dimensional, then it is called as a duplicator. If you say in this image, so this is a typical your tracer milling or nothing but duplicator. In this, if you say, you used to have a multiple spindles are there. So this is one spindle, this is one spindle, similarly this is one spindle, and this maybe your cutting tool is there. So in this, what happened, so in tracer, so you used to have one masterpiece will be there in this. So masterpiece, whatever the profile is there in the masterpiece, so one spindle, so maybe here one spindle you are keeping the profile, the masterpiece, which is similar kind of the whatever the profile used to cut on the other workpiece, that similar thing is copied. So this is taking a signal, taking a the profile, and this profile is transferring to remaining spindles, and this remaining spindle cutting the material, so in this same direction whichever is there. So this is similar to a CMM, coordinate measuring machine. So maybe this CMM machine maybe we can discuss in our fifth unit. So at that time maybe we again discuss about this tracer milling. So remember, tracer milling normally used to use the milling machine for make a typical or different kind of surfaces, maybe some kind of curved, some kind of parabolic, or some kind of hyperbolic surfaces. If you want the machine, we are using this kind of tracer milling machine. So other milling machine, this kind of complicated shapes are very difficult to manufacture, like cams are there. So cam profile, so all these things used to manufacture on this tracer type milling machine. So then coming to the CNC milling machine. So like whatever we have seen in the previous machines, whether it is a lathe machine or drilling machine or maybe other machines, the machines can be controlled manually as can be controlled by computer. So if that machine is controlled by computer, then used to call it as a computer numerical control machine. Similarly, milling machines also not only controlled manually or maybe automatically. So even it is controlled by computer. So if the machine is controlled by computer, those milling machine is called as a CNC, computer numerical control milling machine. So cutter path is controlled by a numerical data. So whatever the data or the programming your feed through the computer. So based upon that program only, it will take the profile. So wherever the profile you want to keep, so it will take. So accordingly, it can cut. So that's why this is used to called as a CNC milling machine, and suited to the profile, package, surface, contours, any kind of operations, any kind of performance can be possible to do on this. So just you need to give the path, and as well as you need to give the proper dimensions in the program, in a computer programming. So whatever the dimensions, whatever the programming you do, accordingly it will take the process and it will do the cutting process. So it's completely controlled by computer. So this is a typical CNC milling machine. The same kind of similar kind of milling machines is there in your in our college also, in our CNC lab. So maybe if whenever you're visiting the college, maybe you can see, maybe in the next semester you have a CAD CAM lab is there. So in that CAD CAM lab, maybe you can work on this CNC machine. So the CNC machines is not the practical classes are not there in the machine tool lab. So in machine tool lab, normally you're studying about conventional machining or maybe few advanced machine, but CNC machines you're going to study in your CAD lab. So these are the typical, whatever the machines we discussed, the advanced milling machine, in addition to column and knee type milling machine, these are there in this single slide. So planar type milling machine, tracer milling machine, and as well as a single CNC milling machine. So these are the few types of milling machines are there. So before going further, so about talking about indexing, so I'm just taking a break here. So maybe we having 2 more minutes are there in this class. If anybody having any doubt in this types of milling machine, please ask me. So now I can start. So now we need to see about indexing. So what is meant by indexing? So anybody know about indexing? So tell me, answer to me. I think you're able to hear me, right? So what is meant by index?
Yes, sir, we are.
So what is meant by index? मालूम है इंडेक्स किसको बोलते हैं? टेक्स्ट बुक में जब आप खोले तो टेक्स्ट बुक में इंडेक्स रहता पहले.
हाँ सर.
So here also that is nothing but dividing. Indexing is nothing but whatever your textbook is there, the textbook is divided into the number of chapters, right? 5 chapters. Chapters are units, are nothing but you take your syllabus. So your syllabus is divided into some equal parts, right? So maybe 5 units every semester. Your all the subjects is divided into 5 units. so that it will be easy for you to learn instead of entire syllabus. So for example, if you take machine tool and metrology MMT, if you're giving us entire one syllabus or one bunch, is little bit confused because it's very big and it's confusing. So what we'll do, we're dividing that into a small some number of parts, maybe 5 units or 10 units or some units we're dividing. In your syllabus normally divided into 5 units. So one unit one topic, second unit one topic. In sometimes first unit you're having a two topics. If you take in metrology, in this our subject, first unit, every unit consisting of a two topics, not one topic. Means your complete syllabus is divided into 5 equal parts. So each part used to have a two topics are there in MMT, right? Similarly, when you're machining anything as a surface, so instead of machining entire surface, the surface you need to divide into some equal parts. So maybe you can see in your screen. So we are machining a gear, right? So when you're machining a gear, what is meant by gear? Gear used to have a circular disc kind of machine part, which is consisting of a tooth or nothing but teeth in its periphery, right? That is called gear. So each teeth is called as a gear teeth, right? So these gear teeth is meshing with other gear teeth, and by this meshing, it is transferring motion from one gear to other gear, right? So this gear is mounted on a shaft. So motion is transferring between the one shaft to the other shaft through the gear. So this is happening, right? So when we need to manufacture this gear, so for example, you see on the screen, so in one gear, you used to have multiple gear teeths are there. So how you will machining this gear? So you see, this is a gear teeth. So in that, this is a gear teeth gap. So we are removing the material in this teeth gap, right? So when you're removing this material in the teeth gap, then whatever the remaining is, that is the teeth, right? So like this, for example, this is the gear. So in this gear, we used to have 40 gear teeths are there. So means you need to cut this gear gap, teeth gap, whatever is there, 40 gaps we need to be cut, right? So normally these kind of things used to cut by this, whatever you're seeing in this, this is cutter. This is a typical milling cutter. So this is a farm tool. Maybe you have seen in last class. So this, whatever the shape of this cutter, so this shape of the cutter is similar to your, whatever the gap you're cutting. So if you see this, the shape of this tooth, so whatever the shape of this milling is similar to the whatever the gap is there. So this is same thing, right? So whatever the gap is there, the same thing. So by rotating continuously, by giving some feed and depth of cut, so gradually you are removing the material. So like this 40 times, if you cut the material from your circumference, so finally you're going to get your gear. So in this, what we are doing in indexing, so because this entire gear is not manufacturing at a time, right? So one by one, whatever the this gap is there. So first they're removing the material in this gap. So then next it is removing in this gap. Then it is coming in removing in this gap. Similarly, if it's going to be removed in this gap, right? So like this, it's going to remove the material. So when we are removing the material, after that, after completion of this removing the material entire surface, so finally you're going to get the gear. So means here, so this circumference, whatever this this teeth gap is there, so 40 teeth if it is there, so the 40 teeth, then 40 teeth gaps are there. So this milling cutter used to cut 40 times in 40 different locations. It has to cut the material. Then only you're going to get the gear. So even if the gear or splines or keyways, whatever is there in circumference, then what we need to do, we need to divide our complete your gear manufacturing or nothing but gear process into equal number of parts. Then we are here, if it is a teeth are 40, so complete machining process we are dividing into the 40 number of processes, right? So each process you are cutting one groove. So this process of dividing this circumference into equal number of parts is called as indexing. So if you take the definition, so indexing is the process of evenly dividing. So evenly dividing the workpiece circumference, dividing the circumference of a circle of the workpiece into equal space divisions, such as cutting gear teeth, as I explained to you, cutting the gear teeth or cutting the splines instead of gear teeth. Maybe you having some kind of rectangular pieces are only there. You don't want a typical this kind of shape. Just you need to have some kind of rectangular grooves has to cut. So that kind of things is called as the splines. Maybe in your pulley mechanism, maybe you've seen. So cutting splines. Similarly, grooves. So milling the grooves we need to cut, milling grooves. Or maybe you're enlarging the hole, reaming, or maybe tapping and spacing holes in the circle. So here what is indexing is nothing but indexing is a process of evenly dividing circumference of the circular workpiece into equal number of parts. That's called indexing. So indexing, maybe normally people will feel indexing in milling is very complicated process, but it's not at all complicated, very simple process. So dividing this, whatever the circumference, it's equal number of parts. For this, what we need to do, normally what happened, we have seen previously. So we used to have a vise, right? So in milling, so we used to have a table, work table. So on this work table, so we used to keep a vise work table, or directly you can keep your workpiece on a bench. So you need to have a bench. So here you have a arbor. So in that arbor, you're mounting a workpiece, your cutter. So here you're keeping a workpiece, right? So here you are keeping here, because now we are talking about indexing. So this workpiece is a cylindrical workpiece. So just assume this is a cylindrical workpiece. You mount it on the table and hold it on here, right? So now what we need to do, so as per this requirement, so this complete your workpiece. If you take in front view of this, if you take the front view of this, or nothing but side view, so look like this. So this is typically you're hold it on this. Now what happened? So this has to rotate on this table itself. You need to be make once you after one two groove is cutting, one two is cut, then we need to rotate this workpiece about this particular angle. So then that particular surface has to come, because once this is done, so then what need to do? So this workpiece has to move in this direction, and so this location has to come below this cutting tool. So then only you can remove this part. So this kind of motion, this kind of movement also is required in indexing. For this, we need to have an indexing head is required. So indexing head of the indexing fixture is used for this purpose. So in this, because in previously whatever we have seen, we used to have a table, right? We are having a table. In that table, maybe we have some kind of grooves are there. On that grooves, you are mounting your bench wise. Otherwise, you can directly mounting your workpiece on this and you're clamping. So now what we need to have for this kind of purposes, because you need to divide the circumference into equal number of parts, we need to have an extra attachment. That extra attachment used to call as the index head. This index head has to mount on the table, on the work table. So this is what is index head. So this is a typical index head, whatever you've seen in the lathe, right? So lathe, we has to have a headstock and as well as the tail stock. So here also same thing, a small lathe you need to mount on a work table. So assume, but here there is a no movement. The movements are not there. We are not having any driving mechanism. The simply, so this is used to called as a index head. So this index head, this is, you assume it here, it's a table. So on this table, we are keeping index head. So one side index head and one side we used to provide some kind of tool post or nothing but foot stock here. So in between this, you are holding your workpiece. So assume whatever the gearbox, gear you have seen in previous slide. So whatever you have seen this, so this, whatever the workpiece is there, so this workpiece is holding between these two. Now what happened once, because here you having a work arbor is there. So on this you having a cutter. So this cutter is cutting. So this is nothing but your farm tool. So this is rotating about its axis, or maybe instead of this, maybe you assume this is not the correct way. So maybe I can remove this. So instead of this, maybe whatever I have drawn like this, it's not like this. It is in the perpendicular direction to the screen. So maybe I can show it. So just assume this is your arbor. So this is your cutter. So this is axis of the cutter is perpendicular to this. So perpendicular screen. So this is, just assume this is an arbor. Maybe I'll doing some hatching on this. So this arbor and this is cutter. So this cutter has to be come down and it has to be, because cutter is here. So it is rotating. So when it is rotating, so you are moving, this is you're giving a feed motion to this one. This is moving front and back. Then you are going to get a kind of groove in this. So it is not we're not removing the material entirely. So just we are making one groove, like whatever you have seen in the previous. Once your groove make in this direction, then what happened? So you need to have multiple grooves. So then we need to rotate this. So right, rotated particular angle. For example, if it is there, you need to have a 40 grooves or 40 gears are required on 360 degrees. Then what happened? You need to 360 degrees is dividing by with 40. So means each is coming as 9 degrees, right? So we need to divide this circumference into 9 degrees of equal 9 degrees. That is called indexing. So here for this, for doing this indexing, we need to have an indexing head. So this is a typical indexing head. So in between this is indexing head. This is also part of the indexing head. So in between this, we are keeping the workpiece, and this workpiece, once this groove is cut ready, then we are moving the workpiece into 9 degrees. So rotating into the 9 degrees. So this process of dividing the workpiece into equal number of parts is called as indexing. So for this, we need to have an indexing head or indexing mechanism or nothing but indexing support system. So that indexing support system is called as the indexing head. The indexing head of the indexing fixtures, which is shown in the picture, contain an indexing mechanism which is used to control the rotation of the indexing head spindle. So this is indexing head spindle. So this mechanism, inside that there is a mechanism is there. In this to space or divide the workpiece accurately, whatever the workpiece is there in between. So it has to be divide or nothing but rotate accurately at that particular angle. Yes, anybody having any doubt? Any questions? So no question, please pay attention and mute your mics. So simple indexing, first we'll see the simple indexing. So there's a different kind of indexing are there. So simple indexing, direct indexing, compound indexing, everything is there. Just you see the simple indexing method. So in simple indexing method, what we used to do in simple indexing mechanism, it's consisting of a 40 tooth. So in between, in this, whatever the indexing head is there, inside the indexing head, there is a 40 tooth worm wheel is fastened to the index head spindle. So whatever the indexing spindle is there, so inside this there is a worm wheel is there. So worm wheel is nothing but a gear. So worm wheel mechanism, maybe you can see this is a worm wheel. So this is a typical worm wheel is there. So this complete mechanism is inside this indexing head. So inside this. So this worm wheel is directly mounted on this spindle. So this whatever the gear is there. So to this gear, this indexing, this whatever the spindle is there connected inside. So this is a worm and this is a worm wheel. So this 40 tool worm wheel is fastened to the indexing head spindle. So connected to this index spindle is mounted on this. So this spindle is passing on through this and on this spindle. So this whatever the spindle is there. So this kind of gear mechanism is mounted on this. A single cut worm. So this indexing wheel is connected to a worm. So this is used to called as a worm and this is a worm wheel. So worm. A crank for the turning the worm shaft and an indexing plate and sectors. So this to this whatever is there. So this in gear is mounted on this. So maybe you can gear is there and whatever the spindle is there. So this whatever your worm is there, So this worm is nothing but this one. So this whatever the shaft is there. So this is worm. So inside this there is some kind of so mechanism is there. Gear wheel. Your this mechanism is mounted. If you rotate this into one degree, one rotation. So what happened in this worm and worm wheel? If this so whatever you're seeing this, so this worm, so which is nothing but this one. If this is rotated by one complete revolution, nothing but 360 degrees. So this worm wheel is rotate about one teeth only, because 360 degrees of this rotation. If you rotate this, for example, this is a worm. So this is a worm. With this end of this, you can see. So this is a worm. So this worm is connected to a worm wheel. So this worm wheel is mounted on the index. So this complete rotation, one rotation of this crank. So this crank is connected to this one. This worm. So this rotation. So this complete 360 degrees rotation. So it's causing a complete 360 degree rotation. When this is completely rotated 360 degrees, what happened? So this tooth, whatever is there, this is inserted with this gear teeth. So this is rotated only one teeth. So 360 degrees of this rotation is moving only this one. So using this, you are dividing the equal part. Since there are the 40 teeth, so on these 40 teeth are there, on the worm wheel, one turns of indexing crank, nothing but indexing crank, which is mounted on the worm. So one complete turn of the indexing worm, consequently indexing head spindle make only one teeth are moved. Means so total 360 degrees is rotated only 360 divided by 40 only, right? Only 40th turn only this is rotating. So one complete rotation of this worm is causing only 1/40 turn of this teeth is happened. So if you want to make complete this rotation, so this has to rotate 40 times. If you rotate 40 times, so this complete wheel is rotating one time. So like this, how many number of sides we used to divide? So that many number of rotation we used to make. For example, if you want to indexing head spindle has to divide into some 4 parts, 4 divided parts, or maybe 6 parts, or maybe 8 parts. For example, you want to divide. So whatever the circle is there, so in this circle, you need to make 8 teeth like this, right? You want to take 8 teeth, or maybe assume it to the 4 teeth if you want to make, right? 4 means 4 grooves you need to cut it in this. So we need to divide this circle into 4 equal parts. So making the 4 equal parts, what we need to do? So one rotation of this tool is dividing into the only 1/40th. Means if you want to make it the 4, so you need to 4 this 1/40 divided by how many number of parts? For example, 4. So means 4. So this is coming as 10. So you need to rotate this into the 10 times. If you rotate into the 10 times, so this is rotating into only 1/4 times, because if you're rotating in 40 times, it's rotating complete 1. If you want to rotate in only 1/4th time, so 40 divided by 4, so 1/4, how many number of sides you need to divide? So that is that many number of rotation you want to make it. The simple mechanism, this is called a indexing head. So how this indexing head is one working? In addition to indexing head, so what happened here? So you used to have in this crank, you used to have an indexing plate. So first you understand the setup, then we can discuss about the mechanism. So this is indexing head. So this is nothing but this entire part is considering as an indexing head. So on this indexing head, you used to have a crank. Inside this indexing head, you used to have worm and worm wheel. This kind of worm and worm wheel is there. And outside this, you used to have an indexing plate. So a crank and an indexing plate is there. So what is indexing plate? So this is a typical indexing plate. So indexing plate is a round plate with a series of 6 or more circles of equally spaced holes are there. So typical indexing plate, if you say, so in this you used to have multiple holes are there. So in this normally 6 or more number of equally spaced holes is there in this plate. The space holes, the indexing pin in the crank. So in this, whatever you've seen in this crank, so there is a crank pin is there. So this crank pin can be fixed any of the hole in this. So you need to rotate this. Even if you complete rotation, you need to rotate and you have to keep back into the same hole. If you don't want to rotate completely, if you want to go for only for small partial rotation, so that means rotation you need to keep it and you need to fix then hole this whatever the crank pin is there at that particular point, you can fix it so that you can make partial turns. So in sometimes you not want to go for complete full turn, you need to go for only partial turns. So in that partial turns, so this many holes only you need to move. So crank can be inserted into any hole in the circle with the interchangeable plates. So in this, whatever the indexing plates can be interchangeable in any hole in any circle with the interchangeable plates regularly furnished with the most index heads. So in the index heads, this used to be keep and spacing necessarily for the most gear, bolt heads, milling cutters, splines. So all these things is required to machining. So then there is a sectors are there. So sectors are nothing but at which. So we know not only have a one series of holes, we used to have multiple series of holes are there. So maybe in this, maybe one more series of holes. Similarly, one more series of holes. Like this, you can divide this circle into the whatever the number of sectors you can divide. So this, so number of circles are also there. So indexing plate. So indexing plate, you used to have the equal spacing of the holes are there. So even this equal space of the holes at different radial distances, it is there. So as per the number of sides you are dividing, so you need to keep your indexing plate. So this is the typical indexing plate. So indexing plate, maybe you having a different number of holes are there. So in indexing plate 1, so as the standard it's giving, so in that maybe you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of rows of holes are there. So in this maybe you can see. So different kinds of size of the holes are there. So each hole you need to have this many number of holes are there. So if, for example, in internal whatever the sector is there, so here maybe you have 15. So above it is having a 16 holes. So here you have a 17 and here you have 18 and one more hole set is there. So you having a 19 and 20 holes are there. So as per the number of divisions you need to make, there you need to keep. So here you need to have an index crank. So and here you having a pin hole. So you can insert this pin at this particular hole. So remember, this is an index plate. So index plate, maybe you having a different holes. So these things are required. Indexing head as well as the indexing plates are required for indexing. So now we're going to see the different types of indexing. So I hope until now everybody is understand, right? So about indexing as well as the indexing attachments. So take an example, simple indexing method. So simple indexing or plain indexing. So in simple indexing, what you used to do in simple indexing and or plain indexing, an indexing plate selected for the particular application. So the whatever the number of holes we need to make, so as per that indexing plate, we need to select it and keep it on the indexing head. Is fitted to the worm shaft and locked through a locking pin. The index to index the work through any required angle, the index crank pin is withdrawn from that hole. So wherever we keep that hole and index plate, then the work is indexed through a required angle by turning the index crank through a calculated number of hole revolutions, total number of revolutions, as well as calculate number of holes, how many number of holes you need to keep. and one of the whole circle. So whatever the circles you have seen previously, 15 holes or 16 holes, in that particular one circle, you can rotate the crank pin and you can keep it. After which the indexing plane is relocated in the required hole. So this, how many number of turns we need to make and how many number of holes we need to rotate. So that is depending upon how much number of times, number of finds you are making. So this is a simple formula is given. So number of turns the crank must be rotated for each indexing can be found from this formula 40, because n is nothing but number of how many number of rotation the crank is to make is given the formula 40, because 40, when in our worm wheel we used to have 40 tooths. 40 divided by z is nothing but number of divisions. So how many number of divisions you want to make on the periphery of the particular work object. So 40 is the number of teeth on the worm, and 40 is the number of this 40 turns if you make, then only you are going to completely rotation of that worm wheel. So what simple thing is happening in this? So suppose we want to desire to mill a gear with 8 equal spatial teeth, right? So 1 by so complete your circle, whatever the circle is there. So in this circle you need to divide into 8 equal parts. Maybe we are dividing here. So it's simple our geometry. So this is 8 equal parts are divided, right? So each part, so each have here, so you need to have cut the material, right? Like this, you need to make a holes. So in this means you need to divide this complete blank, nothing but gear blank, into 8 parts, and each part you need to cut one hole. So how we need to do this indexing? So because it used to have a 40 turns indexing crank will be reached, already it is there. So 40 wheels, 40 teeth wheel already is mounted in the index head. So now we want to make this 8 things. So what we need to do, we need to follow whatever the formula is given previously. The 40 divided by z, number of terms is 8 here. So 40 divided by 8 you need to make. So if you divide by 40 divided by 8, how much it will come? It is coming as 5. So what we need to do? So after every cutting of the teeth, you need to rotate indexing plate a 5 complete turns, right? So if you done 5 complete turns, what happened? Your 5 teeth are moving. So out of 40 teeth, 5 teeth are moving, right? So when 5 teeth are moving at the particular distance and radially, then your the workpiece is there. So once you cut this, so this will move, and this portion is coming about this particular point. So you are completely divided your, so this into periphery into 8 equal parts, right? So same thing can be applicable for even if a number is not divisible by 8. For example, if you take 14 by 16 equal divisions we need to make. So in what we need to do? 40 divided by 16. So if you do 40 divided by 16, what happened? So 2, an integer number will come, then 8 divided by 16 is come. So because 16 is not divisible by 40, right? So in that case, we need to give one a fraction number. So to do the fraction number, then our index plate coming into picture. So index plate, we used to have different holes of index plate is there, right? So here, whatever you have seen. So in that index plate, so one you having a 15 hole set, one you having a 16 hole set, one you having a 17 hole set, like this set is there. So here you used to have a 16 in denominator. So you used to have a 16 hole set is there. So in this 16 hole, so you need to rotate the pin about 8 holes. So first you need to rotate, complete your index plate 2 complete rotation. Then on third rotation, so you need to rotate whatever the 16 holes that plate is there. So in that 16 hole plate, you need to rotate only 8 holes. So rotate the 8 holes, then that pin has to keep in that particular hole, and you need to do the machining. Once machining is completed, again you need to do the rotate in this. So 2 complete rotation. Then on the third rotation, you need to move 8 holes. On the circle of 16 hole circle, you need to move 8 holes, right? So like this, you need to divide any number of sizes, any number of circles, periphery can be divided. I hope this can be clear for you, right? So then it is direct indexing. Maybe I think students may confuse with this. So I'm not going for direct indexing now. So are you clear in this, or any doubt is there?
That 40 by 8, I don't understand, sir. What is that?
40 by 8, you not understand?
Yes, and 16 into 40 equal parts.
40 equal parts, you not understand? I think you're not paying
Yeah,
attention
yeah.
to the class. So are you paying attention
That
to the class?
yeah, sir. But some network issue also is there.
Okay.
That's why the voice is cut. Cut.
Okay. Voice is not coming properly.
Yeah.
Just a minute. I think I have. So in my system, there is some problem has happened. Just a minute. Give me some time. Next class. So our take in the next class. So I hope are you understand what I explained to you just now. Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you ask me the doubt, the student who is asking the doubt, can it's clear for you? Even students who are having similar kind of doubt, can you clear on this?
You can.
Are you understand? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So remaining thing, because further detail explanation, maybe I can do it in the next class. So please refer your class notes as well as again listen my this video. Maybe I'm going to keep the video by today evening. So keep the listen again video, and if possible, you can go to your textbook, you can read it, and next class again we can discuss about this. Right? So now I'm stopping because indexing is a little bit difficult. You need to pay attention. So again in next class again I'll explain to you about the indexing. So I'm stopping the class now. So maybe next class I will take up again about indexing, and we will try to complete milling in next class. So any student having any doubt in other than this indexing?
No, sir.
Okay, then
No,
go
sir.
through your notes, and I already told the students, please submit your assignments. So by next an hour before next Wednesday, please submit your assignment. I'm telling for every student, even the student who already submitted, for them also again you need to submit. So already whatever the link I have given, in that link please submit. Almost some 11 students have submitted till today morning. So I want all